Clarke County Board of Education will now come to order. Ms. McNamara, would you call the roll?
Dr. Spangler? Here. Mr. Payne?
Here.
Ms. Wright? Here. Mrs. Ellis?
Here.
Mr. Worthy?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Huff?
Here.
Mrs. Thornton?
Here.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
At this point, item 16, District Board Education vacancy. I just want you to know there that we'll talk about that, correct? And
I've
you'll
got
give
a
us-
packet for the board.
You have a packet for the
Yes.
board member, so it's just an FYI.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have no amendments to the
Well, I thought we were supposed to amend the agenda this afternoon with item 16. Am I correct on it? It says amend.
Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I thought it was on there, it was on my agenda. Yes, we have to add 16. Yes, there is, please.
Okay, so we're adding 16. Any other amendments? Any other amendments? If not, I'll have a motion to, okay, moved by Ms. Wright, seconded by Mr. Payne. That's a motion to amend the agenda with item 16. So if you're right hand, please. Okay, motion passed. I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Mr. Payne. Got a second on that? Second by Ms. Ellis. All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. At this time, I'd like you to stand, join us in a moment of silent meditation, and we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recognition of achievements and awards. Yes, sir.
If I can at this point, because sometimes it's difficult to comment on the end, but certainly as we wind down our school year, a couple broad comments. We've been listing all of the accolades of our students and faculty and staff. It's truly remarkable. And I'll speak first to our students. That when you look at the lists from math counts to academic bowls across the state, you'll see that Clarke County is always, if not number 1 or 2 in the top 5 or 10 in the state. And I will match our list of teams and students who compete locally in the state and even nationally, really with any district. And you just have to pick up the paper on a weekly basis, and you'll see Clarke County students placing first, second, third, or 2 or 3 teams in competition. So to our students, I just want to say you just are an example of why we're here and why we do what we do. And to see you flourish in different ways outside the classroom is just amazing. And if you look at our district, again, it's just pretty remarkable. If I put the list, it would be so long. It would comes right in front of you. So I just want to say thank you first to the students tonight who are going to be recognized, as well as our faculty and staff, and to all those who have been recognized throughout the year. Just tremendous work. We're really proud of you.
May I say something as well? It was so wonderful to wake up this morning to see the full-page ad in the paper,
Right.
and I want to thank all the people that contributed to that, to recognize our students and our teachers for everything that you have done this year. So I just really appreciate everyone's name, and I know there were more that would have contributed to that and put their name on there as well had they known. So thank all of you for recognizing what these students have done and what the teachers have done.
Thank you.
Yes, and just on that note, I hope all of you will pick up Sunday's Athens Banner Herald. We will have an announcement about our graduating class that has been offered over $4.6 million in scholarships. And the colleges and universities that offered students scholarships will be listed along with our students who received $50,000 or more in scholarships. So, great job. And tonight we'll begin our recognitions. And honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate, and shake the board members' hands. The Georgia chapter of the American Association of Teachers of Spanish and Portuguese is pleased to announce Miss Anise Crane of Cedar Shoals High School as the 2012 Spanish Student of the Year. Currently in her final semester of high school, she began studying Spanish in 2007. For years, she has participated in various learning language projects such as the Distinguished Governor's Honors Program. In 2010-11, she was elected to serve as president of the Spanish Honor Society at Cedar Shoals High School, and she has earned national recognition for having taken and placed at the highest levels of the National Spanish Exam. She is duly enrolled at Cedar Shoals and the University of Georgia in order to take higher level Spanish courses. And again, Anise was the Georgia chapter of the American Association of Teachers of Spanish and Portuguese Spanish Student of the Year. Anise Crane. The Clarke Central High School Symphonic Winds scored all superior ratings at the Georgia Music Educators Association Large Group Performance Festival. This is a monumental achievement for these students after only a 3-year return to the teaching of music standards. This has not happened with this program since 1978, so we're very, very proud. And tonight we'll recognize the leadership team. Javon Christopher, Corey Devereaux, Jacob Finn, Jennifer Golden, Martasia Monago, Tyler Morgan, Graham Murdoch, Eder Vallejos, and the director, Robert Lawrence.
Congratulations. Good job the other night.
We appreciate all you do for our young people. Congratulations. Keep it up. Outstanding. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for your hard work.
Next are our Duke Talent Identification Program Grand and State winners. Several Clarke County School District students performed at the highest levels during the Duke Talent Identification Program, or TIP. The 7th grade talent search, which focuses on the identification, recognition, and support of high-ability students, offers qualifying 7th grade students the opportunity to take college entrance exams alongside high school students. Of the 40 students who were eligible to participate, 11 received state recognition and 3 received both state and grand recognition. These honorees have earned these awards by scoring at or above the national average of recent high school graduates on at least one portion of the ACT or SAT. And again, these are middle school students. So those that received grand recognition as well as state recognition and will have the opportunity to study at Duke this summer are Lindsay Chen from Hillsman Middle School, Jeffrey Mon, Hillsman, Charlie Yee, Hillsman, state recognition Tucker Barks, Clarke Middle, Walter Chapman, Clarke Middle, Lauren Chen, Hillsman, Sarah Goody, Hillsman. Let me read the rest of the list. See there. Lydia Jackson. Oh, great.
Congratulations.
And Lydia is Clarke Middle School. Abu Jadhab, Hillsman. Zachary Myers, Clarke Middle School.
Congratulations.
You have a good look, young man.
Marco Newman, Clarke Middle School. Grace Rollins, Clarke Middle School. Nathan Winger, Clarke Middle School. And William White, Clarke Middle School.
Congratulations.
Next, we'd like to congratulate the Barrow Buddy Project. This project won in the Georgia Future Problem Solving Community Problem Solving category this year. The team has received an invitation to the Future Problem Solving International Conference in Bloomington, Indiana this June. 20 Barrow fifth graders participated in the project where they mentored first graders. We have a short video tonight to demonstrate the impact this made on students at Barrow.
The Buddy Project. Buddies understand, development, dependent on each other, idealistic about, education, special to each other. As a teacher, when you walk around and see us having a lot of fun and working, what emotions do you go through when you see this happening?
Well, I go through a lot of different emotions, Kaylee. I go through emotions of pride in my fifth graders and how you guys have really grown over the course of the year. You've become more independent. You're also caring about other people besides yourselves, and really it's not about you or the glory. You're really doing it because you care about your buddies, so that really makes me very proud of you.
Manaya, do you like the Buddy Project? Yeah. And why? Because Hannah took me to the book fair. She took you to the book fair? That's awesome. How long do you want this Buddy Project to last? Forever. Do you like the Buddy Project? Yes. Why? Because I get to work with my pal Ian. How long do you want the Buddy Project to last? As long as school lasts. Do you like the Buddy Project? Yes. Why? Because interesting. It's interesting? Okay. And how long do you want the Buddy Project to last? Forever. And what do you love most about your buddy? Because she's nice and I love her. Thank you.
I do believe the project was beneficial for my first graders this year. They were able to work on skills and project skills and standards that we were working on in class with their buddies. Miss Mullins would come by and ask me what's coming up, and I'd tell her, and then you would plan projects. The fifth graders would plan projects with the little buddies to help them with their standards in class, and I think that was helpful for them. Teaching them the importance of school, teaching them that even though they were having fun with their buddy, they were also keeping their focus on academics.
I think that first grade is the first layer of the building blocks in which your future education is built upon, is like when it first starts. And so it's the first year that there's challenging curriculums, and so I really feel proud about my buddy if she does like really well, and so that's my favorite part of the Buddy Project. Thank you. My buddy affects me in real life because he's really important and special to me. And every Friday, even though we only have 30 to 45 minutes, those 30 and 45 minutes really count for me and my buddy because he gets this extra learning time. And it's really different for me because I get to interact with first graders, and that's really different since I'm in fifth grade. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause to the Barrow Buddies. And now we'd like to recognize the student leaders of this project. And again, it's going on to the International Future Problem Solving Bowl. It won for the entire state of Georgia in the Community Problem Solving category. Okay, Amira Aaron, she was on the Formal Report Committee. Andrew Caldwell, Movie Committee. Hannah Lee, Formal Report and Addendum Committee. Aaron Myers, Movie Committee.
Look for great things from you, young man.
Caroline Mobley, Scrapbook and Newsletter Committees.
Keep up the good work, young man.
Molly Sullins, Scrapbook and Newsletter Committees. Kaylee Weems, Movie Committee.
Oh, you're going to be a star one day.
And the coaches, Ashley Mayer and Jan Mullins.
Thank you for your hard work.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you for your dedication.
Thank you. It's tough for everybody to see. Thank you for doing the job. Thank you.
Thanks.
It's for what you do.
I see why they're working on it that day.
That was good.
Thank you so much.
You were so awesome. My buddy.
The Clarke County School District's Director of Facility Planning and Construction, David Stubbs, recently accepted an environmental award for water stewardship due to water-saving features in recently renovated Fowler Drive Elementary School. He received the Athens-Clarke County Water Conservation Leadership Award. At Fowler, the school now has plumbing to capture air conditioning water that condenses in two 5,000-gallon cisterns, which store the water for use in irrigation and flushing toilets. A rooftop system also diverts water into rain gardens, reducing the amount of pollution that reaches streams. Inside a room in the school, students can see where the water comes from and where it goes, making the water collection system a teaching tool. The school district has also adopted green cleaning techniques using fewer and less hazardous cleaning chemicals than older methods. And tonight we'd like to commend David Stubbs for his leadership in all of these areas.
Congratulations. I got a bone to pick with you.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Great stuff, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great work. Congratulations.
Now we'd like to congratulate the Georgia Scholastic Press Association Turnaround Program of the Year. Congratulations to the Blueprints News magazine from Cedar Shoals High School for awards recently received from the Georgia Scholastic Press Association. Blueprints News magazine recently received a rating of achievement and the Turnaround Award. This award recognizes staff that significantly changed the quality of the publication from the previous year. And tonight we'll recognize the leadership team. Angela Pyle, editor. Aaron Galvin McCoy. Sequania Smith. And Lauren Warrenfelds. And we'd also like to recognize the advisor who won the First Year Advisor Award for demonstrating success and desire in strengthening the program. And we'll present him with a certificate and a certificate for Blueprints as a whole. And that would be Mark Ginsberg from Cedar Shoals High School.
Thank you for your hard work. You're moving fast.
Outstanding.
Thanks for getting this program. It's great.
Thanks so much.
Next, we'd like to congratulate the combined orchestras of Bernie Harris Lyons and Clarke Middle Schools for winning top honors in separate divisions at the recent Music in the Parks competition in Atlanta. The BHL and Clarke Middle School combined orchestras received first place in 6th grade orchestra for the beginner division and second place in 7th and 8th grade orchestra for the intermediate division. And tonight we'll recognize the 8th grade student leaders. Jehu Casas from Bernie Harris Lyons Middle School. Lisette Estrada from Bernie Harris Lyons Middle School. Evan Newman from Clarke Middle School. And Florence White from Clarke Middle School. And the directors, Christina Esposito from Bernie Harris Lyons and Dr. Eunice Kang from Clarke Middle School. The Georgia Scholar Program is an effort by the Georgia Department of Education to identify and recognize high school seniors who have achieved excellence in school and community life. The criteria for selection is very rigorous, and these students are to be commended. In honor of this accomplishment, students will receive a Georgia Scholar seal on their diploma. From Cedar Shoals High School, John Bolin, who will attend Georgia Tech and major in civil engineering.
Oh, yes. That's a good man. That's a good man.
Congratulations.
Anise Crane, who will attend UGA. Elizabeth Vensel, who's the valedictorian at Cedar Shoals, and she will be attending Georgia Tech in majoring in material science, and she's received a scholarship for that. While she's going around, I'll tell you a few other qualities of what the Georgia Scholar has. High scholastic ability, carried an exemplary course load in the 4 years of high school, performed excellently in all courses, successfully participated in interscholastic events of the school or community, assumed an active role in extracurricular activities, and exhibited good citizenship. So these are very, very well-rounded students. And now from Clarke Central High School, Joyce Liu, who will attend the University of Chicago and major in biological sciences. And Eliza Rothstein, who will attend the University of Pennsylvania and major in pre-law. Next, we'd like to recognize the Cedar Shoals FFA members for earning top honors at the State Agri-Science Fair in Macon. Katie Simon and Kim McMahon won first place in environmental science. And Katie also placed third at the state for her proficiency application in plant systems, and we're very proud for that as well. For second place in animal systems, Natalie Stanley and Caleb Jones. And second place in food science, Bria Thompson Carter. And the advisor, Julie Throne.
Congratulations. Thank you. My pleasure. Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Next, we'd like to recognize the Clarke Middle School Step Team for placing second at the University of Georgia Panhellenic Step Show and sixth place nationally at the National Stepping Bee at the end of April at Campbell Middle School in Smyrna. This was a national competition, and teams came from Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and other Southeast states to compete. And for the Panhellenic Show win, that when they came in second, they also won a trophy and $650 for the team. And now we'd like to recognize the team from Clarke Middle, Tyra Allen, Alexis Brown, Travonta Burgess, Autumn Ellis, Adoria Jones, Sabrina Morris, Asia Powers, Brianna Rainey, Rachel Robinson, Asia Rucker, Dallas Thomas, Sharnika Williams, and Tamika Williams. And of course, we'd also like to recognize the coaches, Adriana Carter,
Congratulations.
Charliette Harris. Elise Ivory. And Ronnie Williams.
Great job.
At the Panhellenic Step Show. They won first place at the national at the Panhellenic Step Show at UGA.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, and finally, we'd like to recognize the 4-Star Employee Award winners, and these were employees that were nominated for their exemplary service by their colleagues, parents, or anyone in the community. And first is Cindy Alexander from Whitehead Road Elementary School. She's a 4th grade teacher and was nominated by Principal Luther McDaniel. And because of Ms. Alexander, those kids got to go to Jekyll Island this year, and here's what Mr. McDaniel had to say. Because of the planning and vision of Cindy Alexander, almost 200 4th and 5th graders were able to experience a 3-day trip to Rock Eagle and Jekyll Island, respectively. Since I have been at Whitehead Road, we have not offered these students trips as other schools have. To make this happen for our children, Mrs. Alexander planned both trips, led fundraisers throughout the school year, held parent meetings, handled student payments, and organized student medicine. She also drove her own car to Jekyll to make sure we were able to respond to emergencies if the need arose. While at Jekyll, she willingly drove to Brunswick to pick up a child's prescription when the mother had to call it into a local pharmacy. Many of our children had never been away from home or seen the ocean. Because of her efforts, these children were able to participate in trips and experiences that they will cherish for the rest of their lives. She is most deserving of the 4-Star Award. Congratulations. Next is Julie Evans, she works district-wide for special ed. She's the special education adaptive physical education teacher and was nominated for the award by Shannon Svetley, our special ed director. And here's what Shannon had to say about Julie. Ms. Evans is a true special educator. She works each and every day to ensure students with disabilities have the highest level of instruction in the area of adaptive physical education. In addition to her duties and responsibilities for physical education, she organizes, oversees, and raises funds for our local Special Olympics. She plans this event each year and spends a great deal of extra time and effort to ensure our students have an experience they will remember for a lifetime. She cares about their health and well-being, and she strives to instill values in them to encourage physical activity, nutrition, and mobility, regardless of their challenges or special needs. Ms. Evans is to be commended for her work to make Clarke County's adaptive PE program excel. She continues to challenge our students and provides an exceptional academic program in the area of adaptive PE. We are so fortunate to have her. Next is Shelley Fallows, the IB coordinator and science teacher at Coyle Middle School, and she was nominated for this award by her coworker, Kimberly Boswell. Well, I wish she was here because Ms. Boswell said that she actually deserved a permanent parking spot titled Teacher of the Century. So she does a fantastic job. And finally, Francine Smith, a paraprofessional from Gaines Elementary School, who was nominated by a teacher in the classroom, Ellen Stoll. And this is what Ms. Stoll had to say. Ms. Smith and I have worked together in pre-K for 20 years. This year I had to have ankle surgery. I was out the entire month of January. Then in March the incisions became infected and I was in the hospital again. I was out of school for 5 weeks. During this time, she did a wonderful job taking care of the students in the classroom and carrying out the lesson plans I write and send to her by email. She came to my house to bring me anecdotal notes, work samples, photos, matrix, and teacher assessments so I could keep entering assessments in the work sampling online for pre-K students. She called me almost every night with a report of what has happened in the classroom. She wrote newsletters to keep parents informed about what was happening in the classroom. She has a great relationship with the children and their parents. Congratulations. Congratulations again to all of you for the great work you do. We are so proud of you for not only representing our school district so well, but our community also. Thank you and congrats.
And And I would only say, if you didn't believe me before the start, I hope you believe me now about what our faculty, staff, and students do with support of our parents and community.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lanou. We're going to go ahead and move the agenda. We're down to item B, minutes of the previous meetings. We had 3. Read those minutes, and
Yes, I have.
entertain a motion to approval, and moved by Mr. Payne. A second on that, second by Ms. Williams. Have any questions pertaining to the minutes? Any questions pertaining to the minutes? All in favor? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Lanou, you on again, superintendent's report?
Superintendent's report, just a note, of course, you have your yellow packet, your important information, as well as for your general information is the green packet. I would make a note, of course, we start our budget hearings. Thank you, Dr. Spangler, as a list went out to remind which board members will be attending each of the budget hearings that will be in the next several weeks. I'd like to start, I have a few announcements, but a lot of it's been said already. But the first is a presentation that we do annually, and that is Paula Shilton with our mentor program, and most of us are very familiar with the mentor program. And I will say, under Paula's leadership, I think we've moved to another level. Her laser focus on matching the kids with teachers in our schools and distributing mentors out to our schools made a tremendous difference. And, you know, before you give certainly those awards, I just want to say on my behalf and on behalf of our students and teachers, thank you, for what you have been able to do in supporting our children.
I appreciate that. But the mentor program could not operate without having a contact person at each of our Clarke County schools. It's usually the school counselor, and they match mentors with mentees. They help with recruitment, and they are the on-site advisor for that mentor. Daily troubleshooting, specific questions, and we couldn't do it without them. We appreciate all of them, but I wanted to recognize 2 in particular tonight. Our Rising Star Award goes to first-year school contact person for the mentor program, Kim Turner at Hillsman Middle School.
All right.
Although she is an experienced counselor, but this is her first year at Hillsman. Her very first week on the job, she got in touch with me and she said she wanted to know how she could improve the mentor program and get more mentors at Hillsman. She's helped with recruitment by speaking at our mentor trainings. She's put me in contact with some community groups who might be interested in the mentor program. She's really a master at matching the right mentor with the right mentee and making adjustments if needed. She checks in frequently. She sometimes will forward me emails that go on for 4 pages of back and forth with her mentors to help them out. So she's really excellent at troubleshooting situations, especially when mentors wonder about approaches to take with their mentees. Some days the mentees want them to be close, some days they want to push them away, and isn't that just called adolescence? But Kim gets it. At the end of last school year, Hillsman had 22 mentors. Today they have 46. Thank you, Kim. Our school contact person of the year is extremely bashful. He hates to be praised in public, and I'm not at all surprised that he didn't show tonight. But it is Vance Sims from Gaines Elementary School. Vance is always ready to help at our mentor training. He comes, he talks about our students, the wonderful things they do, what they're like developmentally, the challenges they have. He talks about our school system and why mentoring is important. And if I didn't stop him, he would try to come to every single monthly training and poach all the new mentors. So we have to kind of watch out. He makes his new mentors feel so valued. As soon as they come into school, he sits down with them for half an hour to talk with them. And they know they can discuss anything with him. And I'm sure that's a large part of why the mentors that go there stay there. He has great retention. Right now, today, he has 60 mentors. He's also fantastic at record keeping. He keeps track of visits. He developed a rubric to help match mentors and mentees. And he also did a survey of all our school counselors to find out how many more mentors do we actually need. He compiled all the results, and the answer was 500 more. That's in addition to the 550 we have as of today. So you can see we have our work cut out for us. He believes passionately that mentors can make a difference in the lives of our students. Thank you for supporting the mentor program.
think it's also going to be quite obvious about just the different areas and the work that we are doing. The next one is even totally different, but it's one we don't talk about that often, but the one that we know has certainly impacted us of recent. And we're going to ensure the safety of all of our teachers and our students, as well as parents that come into our building. So I'm really pleased that there's a special presentation on Project SAVE. And so I believe Allison Ellison is here from Atlanta, and you could certainly talk a little bit more about why you're here and the award tonight.
Okay. I am here from Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and I'm really happy to be in Clarke County. I've actually been here several times, starting probably more than 2 years ago when the board put automated external defibrillators into the schools in Clarke County, and that was the first big step. But the nurses this year have taken it to the next level, gone above and beyond, and have really brought a comprehensive program to the Clarke County schools so that lives can be saved. And we know that this work works because we now have 36 saves in Georgia schools. 36 people that are alive today because their schools were prepared and knew what to do in this medical emergency of sudden cardiac arrest. We have about 850 Project Save Heart Safe schools in Georgia, and as of tonight all of the Clarke County schools are Project Save Heart Safe schools. And again, that's largely due to the work of the nurses, the staff and the administrators and the CPR instructors, and a lot of people work together. There's a first responder team in every school that's been trained and has done a practice drill, and they're ready to go. So I have a certificate for each school, which Sharon will hand out. I just really want to thank Sharon for her leadership of this, and all of the nurses who have really done a great job. Like I say, we've been working on it slowly in Clarke County for a while, but the nurses really brought it home this year. So I hope you appreciate them as much as I do.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For making this happen.
Thank you very much.
So that's for the board. Not every time does the Board of Education or the school district office get a certificate.
Okay.
But in this case, there was a practice drill here also. It's in the works, so we decided we could go ahead and do that tonight. So I thank you.
Well, thank you, and if I could add to that, and I've been in schools on several occasions, Mr. Hardaway, just recently, where we have conducted the simulation and drills. They are timed, but those teams are spot on, and they are there. What was it? What was the quickest? It was somewhere the response.
Well, today was 1 minute. Yesterday, 1 minute 54 seconds at Hillsman.
Woo!
Wow.
All right, so they have 1 minute, 54 seconds, and we have someone with those units doing what they need to do to save a person. That, in a school setting, is fast. And
I'd just like to tell you a little bit about this so you can appreciate what they do. They have a team that's trained, and they don't know when the drill is.
Right.
That's right.
So when they called and they said, person is down in wing B, everybody on that team has a job. Somebody has to go get the defibrillator.
Right.
And you can see teachers running out of classrooms, and they're being timed. As how long it takes them to go and do all those things and get to that person and put those pads on them. And Hillsman did it in 1 minute.
1 minute, 54 seconds. Those teachers were alerted. They moved to that location. They got the device. They took the device. They put the pads on. They performed the procedures and saved a person.
Right. And I would just add, too, that as of the 36th save actually just happened, we've counted 3 saves that happened in the community, in parks and rec areas primarily, in the communities around Georgia. But it was school personnel who learned what to do at school, who then carried that skill to the park, to the ball games, whatever. And so 3 of those saves happened actually in the community.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
Thank you.
okay, there you go. Thank you.
It's hard to top that, I'll tell you that. And just several other items. The first is about technology. I sent to the board, I've sent to the community an outline of where we're going technologically. I don't think that was necessarily new, but I hope it brought some clarity about the steps. I really believe with the help of our team that we are ready to really put all of that thinking and conversation together, ranging from the tools to David Stubbs designing some furniture that we've been looking at, to Lynn Snelling, who is looking at what we have to do for refresh. And we're really moving toward, of course, a one-to-one environment. But more than that, we're looking to move away from proprietary equipment, where we pay fees for software, etc. We plan to really be free from any proprietary software as we move forward, because the tools are simply out there. And the rollout of Google Docs, thanks to our technology department and Dr. Price and her team, but we've been able to roll out Google Docs, which is going to give us a whole set of free tools. So I'm very excited about that. And even to add to that, I just want to give a little bit of a story that the State Department as well had opened a model classroom where they got vendors down in the Twin Towers to put together what they thought were, they thought that are 21st century furniture and tools that one would use. And really is, they had no one there to use it. They had no one there to model. In fact, every district I think they asked or hinted that, do you want to come try it out? No, they didn't get any takers, but not for us. You know, we sent Barrow. Barrow said, we're in. When do we come? In fact, I called Dr. Sabatini from the Twin Towers about 6 weeks ago. She said, I'm in. When we coming? Give me a date. And our kids, our 4th grade kids, went down this week to the Twin Towers. They were phenomenal. They filmed model lessons of how to use technological tools. Our teachers were so well prepared. Our kids were there for 4 hours, 1 20-minute break, all on task in a very, very different technological environment. So as we move forward, we know we've got the horsepower in the hood with our teachers, and we got it with our children who are just engaged. But I think it just speaks well that Clarke County's going to the Twin Towers. We're going to model technology and how to use and set up a different kind of classroom for the future. So, you know, kudos to certainly Barrow and that team and the 4th grade kids as they went down and really showed them how it works. And would you agree, Dr. Price? Yeah. So the other is the last on my list, and it goes from good times to challenging times. And as we know in this budget year with personnel, these are not easy times. And I have to give a lot of credit and a lot of praise at this point to our Human Resource Department. These are not easy times. One, to make sure you've got the right staffing patterns, and then to actually sit down and talk to individuals about their profession, where they're at, are there moves. Those are not easy things to do day in, day out for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. But I am pleased at this point. First is the work that they have done with our professionals. And the second, I want to make sure I compliment our professional staff. These are personal times, but our faculty and staff, under the most duress conditions, have been professional. And I think that speaks a lot to their talents. But it's not easy. I would like to note, though, that I have one statistic that I feel really good about that Mr. Barley gave me today, that we know, and these are talking about certified positions, that we have reduced 61.14, a little over 61 positions as a result of this budget direction. And as of today, 75% of them have positions back again in some capacity in which they're certified. That's right. So I think, you know, and that's actually a 45 through our retraining. So I think that we've gone through these difficult times. People have taken advice and been retrained and took the GAZE test, and we've been really flexible with positions. Some are retraining, some are good fits. But thanks, Mr. Bradley, being very meticulous in his team about where people can go and openings, and our principals as well for saying, yes, I can do this or make some moves. So I just wanted to say at this point, if you try to find some silver lining or pieces, that we have 75% of those certified staff back in jobs today. And that ends my report, President Worthington.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lanou. Any questions for Dr. Lanou? If not, we're moving down to item E, report of current committees.
Okay, so we have the SPLOST 2, SPLOST 3 monthly reports. Those are in your packet. I would ask that we approve the financial report for March.
Okay, if you reviewed the financial report, need a motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Dr. Spain. Any questions about the financial report? Any questions? All in favor? Very much. Motion passed.
We have 2 reports this evening. That would be the GSBA Director's Report and then a report on the NSBA Annual Conference. So we'll start with GSBA.
I was blessed to have my colleagues to go with me, Mr. Worthy and Ms. Williams, and
GSBA first.
GSBA.
Yeah, you have a GSBA report.
Are we going on to NSBA?
No,
I was going to say, I was
No.
You can do NSBA.
We're going NSBA then. We'll do all NSBA tonight.
Let's go. Let's go.
Rita Thornton.
Okay, go ahead.
We'll combine them. GSBA, NSBA, one of them.
No, NSBA.
Okay.
Rita Thornton.
No, GSBA will be
GSBA.
GSBA.
All right, get it right.
One of them BAs.
Yeah, GSBA.
A board report.
There you go.
Okay. I really thought that Mr. Payne was going to give the introduction to this. We went to the Governance Operations Committee meeting on Monday in Macon. There was a mix-up about attending, but we made it. And we discussed this before about the policies that GSBA recommends at the summer conference, and we need to get that information prior to the conference. But what I did do, I asked Terry to make copies. I'm sorry I scribbled all over the front of them. There's not a whole bunch you can do between now and we can do as a board, but if you do see some things in here, the official vote will be at the summer conference in Savannah. But these are, I guess the first one where all of my little scrabble is on, that was actually everything. And the second package, it says attachment 2. This is what is actually going to be presented at the conference to vote on. I guess next year we'll just try again to be ahead of the curve so all the board members can have input, because there were some board members that did make input that we voted on up or down at the meeting on Monday. But at least we do, you do have it. So take a look and see what is going to be discussed. If you do have some concerns, we can, I think, Mr. Payne, we can present it from the floor if there is a concern about anything.
You have to have the approval of the entire board.
Okay.
And one board member has to be present to present it at the delegate assembly.
Okay. So if there's a concern, I guess, like I said, the main package would be attachment 2.
And I'd like to add to that there was 2 days of board members from throughout the state that worked on all of those and revised them. This is the latest edition of the revisement that we saw down there. So they have scrutinized this very closely, and I think it's a very good document.
One other thing that they discussed, it was part of Angela's report, she is just so excellent. She just is so excellent. Is the language for the upcoming charter school on the ballot. And I think that we really probably should really look at it and make sure we understand it, because I don't know exactly, but she's going to give us talking points to how to address that issue and how we can respond. And they really encouraged us to be advocates on this issue because it will be on the ballot in November. So we just need to be knowledgeable by then.
And not only that, but GSBA has already lunch campaign, we understand that the governor and those people with charter schools, they have over $200,000 in the budget already. So you'll be bombarded with this charter school stuff on television because they have the money. But if you would like to support the GSBA and all of the school children in the state of Georgia, vote smart. And you can send a donation to Post Office Box 766, Lawrenceville, Georgia, 30046. So we're going to be out in the various school districts doing all that we can in order to defeat this, because education is one of the pillars of democracy in America. And we have been blessed in this country to have education for all the people.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Okay, we ready for the NSBA report?
Yes.
I'll begin. I want 3 to go that way. Let's see, 5 to go that way. 1 for you, Mr. Superintendent. And I'll make a few comments, and then I'll listen to what Mr. Payne and Ms. Williams have to say. Okay, we traveled to Boston on the 20th of last month to the NSBA conference. And what I decided to do, I've never done this, each morning after a general session, they print a newspaper. And you brought you a copy of this newspaper. Journalist Soledad O'Brien. She's a journalist for CNN, and she also does breaking news. And I wanted to bring this copy to each board member because she made such a dynamic speech. Part of it is in here and some of the comments that she made. So I would like for you at your leisure to just read that. You know, she did just a super fantastic speech. At one time, she just had that audience of about probably 16 or 17,000 people spellbound. Right. She made an excellent speech there. So I brought that to you. And you see an attachment, building trust and overcoming conflict on your board. It's an attachment there. It actually was a PowerPoint presentation. And I want to say this is the best workshop that I have ever attended of all of the NSBA conferences that I have attended over the years. And I really went through that booklet, and I chose this particular workshop to attend simply because of the fact that upcoming board retreat that we have coming up in June of this year, June 29th, okay? Now, if you take a look at this, what I did, I took time and I went through this PowerPoint presentation and I highlighted different slides. You can see the first one that I highlighted, New York State School Boards Association, they were the presenters at this workshop, okay? And then you go through and you see our key messages. And I'm not going to read all of this to you, but it was all about building trust amongst board members. If you turn to page 2, I believe it is, yeah, turn to page 2, you see trust equals reliability. If I trust you, you're reliable. And as you navigate through here, you see other information pertaining to trust. And like I said, I tried to highlight the ones that I thought that would bring out some information that would to share with you in terms of building trust with our board. And if you look at page 3, it talks about trust at the governance level, building trust. If you look at building trust, you see that slide there? If I stepped out there as your president and had you to fall backwards, would you trust me to catch you? Would you? I hope you would. I see some smiles.
Yes, we would. We would.
It's a behavior, okay.
We would.
But anyway, as you navigate through here, you see that I'm not going to read all of this because, like I said, I highlighted the ones that I really think that would be beneficial to all of us. Go to page 4. Again, you see opportunities to set norms and your retreat. And we do that pretty good in Clarke County. And new team members, orientation, we did that. Role of the president, I mean, they really, and that room was packed. There's a standing room only. The role of the president, they talked about how critical that is. Is your president up to task? If not, let me know. Let me know what I need to improve on. Then you go through further, you see the 4 kinds of conflict. Role, process, direction, interpersonal, and we'll look at that in a minute. But you see the video down there where it says Sand Valley Schools. I printed Zendy Bowie's name on that particular slide because when they showed that slide, it took me back to the first workshop, a training session that this board went through this particular school year. Because it showed a number of things in terms of board members' behavior. And you know, boards of education now, they are televised. But anyway, Zenda went through that with us, and that's why I did that. If you turn to page 5, it talks about minimizing the risk of conflicts. You can read that. Reducing role conflicts. And you see new board members orientation again, board retreat. New member training, and you see the number of hours they have in New York, 6 hours fiscal, 6 hours in the fiscal year, and 6 hours in orientation. They do 12 hours, we do 9 in Georgia. But please navigate through here and take a close look at items that I have highlighted for you, because like I said, this really brought to my attention. I attended another workshop that was really interesting. It was a mock board meeting put on by the Maryland School Boards Association. It was very interesting, folks, and we need to pat each other on the back because we do a wonderful job as a board in Clarke County. Because some of the things, when they went through that mock board meeting, they had interaction from the floor. And I tell you, some of the things that I heard people say, one of the things that I heard this gentleman from Delaware stated, well, I tell you what, the president of the board would meet with the superintendent and they set the agenda, and we don't see anything pertaining to the agenda to that meeting. They don't post anything. I'm like, I wouldn't want to be in Delaware, you know. But those kind of things came out in the meetings in terms of, it's just different in terms of how boards of education would operate across this state. And of course, we were sitting at tables there, and you got an opportunity to interact with other board members. But I certainly want to mention that to you. I've given Dr. Lanu some information. I spent some time going through the exhibits, and he's already familiar with this program, and I'm quite sure Mr. Bowley is too, called Troops to Teachers. And that is an excellent program, and I think that we can benefit from that, but I've given that information to him, so I won't go into that. Anyway, just a short version of what I attended and what I came back and shared this with you from the NSBA conference. Thank you very much. Mr. Payne or Ms. Williams?
Ms. Williams, ladies first.
Okay. Well, looking at your handout reminds me that, and I've got the book, if anyone that would like to go through some of the programs that were offered, I believe the information is still downloadable online from the conference.
It is.
Because they didn't have a lot of handouts, but you could go print them off, but you can still print them off and pull them down. So there's a lot of good information up there. I wanted to highlight just two of the meetings I went to. The first one was David Voss, and you might have, he's done a lot in Georgia. He's from North Carolina, but he had some things to say about Georgia that we talked about afterwards. But he was talking about the message and the community commitment and all of that, and some very salient points that were of value, and I'll pass those along too. I need to write these up a little bit better to disseminate. And the other one I sat through was an advanced college academy, similar to what we're doing, just to see how they're doing it in Virginia. And it's the J. Sargent Reynolds Community College and the Henrico County school system there. And middle school student supply, and they take regular classes prior to entering the program in their junior year, and they take honors and AP courses during their freshman and sophomore year. And the instructors are very integrated with the orientation nights at the high school and all of that. And the director is a high school teacher given extra credit, extra period to handle plus a stipend. And the district does most of the courses with online books and resources, and they have an agreement with the college to have digital textbooks. So it was interesting to see how they did their program, and it really reminded me that our system could do the same thing at a meeting as well. And there's just a lot of good things. It was a lot of workshops that you could go to. It's a little bit difficult to get from one to the other.
Very difficult.
Very difficult. So a lot, you just were a little bit late. But I also met a music reception the first night that was some Boston University students that were not music majors but wanted to continue their music, but the department head of their music program was there, and a lot of their staff were there. And they did just a wonderful job of interacting with all of us there and telling us about their program. And one thing that they're so interested in, a lot of other components of that knew what we were doing in Clarke County as well and appreciated our support of music and the arts. But Boston University is doing a lot of online training because they know it's so difficult with tight money to continue the training, so they're offering that starting this fall, which I thought was really good as well. So.
And so I'm happy that you mentioned that it's so difficult to get to these workshops, and the reason being because, they start on, some people get there on Friday, and they have some early ones, but they actually start that Saturday morning through Sunday, and then of course through that Monday afternoon. But you have a booklet like this that having all of these workshops listed in this booklet here. And like say for instance, that's one that I wanted to attend, said in building relationship between the president and the superintendent. And you had a past president and a retired superintendent as the presenters. So I said, well, no, I'm going to the one that I just finished talking about because I think I have a pretty good relationship with you. But my point is this, it starts at 1:30 to 2:45. And, if you go into one, if you leave early, then of course you won't miss everything there. And then the other one starts around maybe 3 o'clock, 3:15 to about 5. So it's difficult. And I always wondered why across this country that you have a toll boards members that are there. I know Carroll County in Georgia, they always have all of theirs there. Because some of them have 5, and they probably can afford to do that. And the reason, I sat and I talked with some of them, the reason they do that because of the fact they spread themselves out and they can cover more workshops that way and come back and share it with people. But that's the reason why. Ms. Payne?
Yeah, I attended, and let me just say this from the outset. I've attended a lot of national school boards, and this was the worst.
In terms of registration now?
Worse in terms of registration and in terms of, as he said, trying to get from one place to the other. The classes were not scheduled right, so if you get in one, you would be late for the other one because you had to walk a half a mile from one end of the building to the other end of the building, and it was downstairs sometime, and you would miss it. So it was, and all the board members that I talked with, we turned in evaluation forms, so they got some very, very bad reports from board members because we have not had this problem. And let me tell you, when I got home, I called the scoot around, and I was thinking about getting me one of those scoot around to ride around in next year when I go, because it's so far. It's so far. We got there one morning. Our bus was all the way at the end of the building, and we had to walk just like me a half a mile all the way up the side of the building to get into the front of the building, and it was just difficult. And I just felt sorry for so many of them elderly people who was on canes and walkers, and they was having a very difficult time trying to maneuver to get to those classes. And hopefully something will be done. They need to do something, make it better. I was called on Tuesday. You sign up those various booths, and Clarke County won. I signed up, and the school system they are sending us the material, and when I get it, I'll give it to Dr. Lanu, and you can decide whether you want to use it or not. The other thing, that was I attended 7 programs, but there's 2 that stands out that I thought was very important. In that it would, one was Steve Stefan, build a positive work climate, lighten up, grow professionally. The power of positive laughter, humor, and play. He developed this curriculum, and he taught it for 15 years in 2 universities. And he goes around the country now, and he will have you laughing all the time during his presentation. That's what he does. And he says that if teachers would lighten up a little bit, get to know their students, introduce various kind of activities that will keep them busy, laughing and listening, and he played records and this kind. And it was, I think everybody in there just enjoyed it so very much, because he had all the board members. Every time that he put on a different skit, he would have board members come up out to the front, and they would have to do whatever he put on. So it was very inspiring. The other one was students and teachers achievement starts at home. Untapped data from students' homework can drive better professional development. And this, Dr. Lanu, I've got the email, and Charles, you were blessed to get in a session where you got the material. I didn't get it. This is one sheet. This is the only sheet. I attended 7. This is the only sheet I got. And what they're doing now, they're not bringing a whole lot of stuff up there. You have to go on the internet and get it. So I have it right here, so you can go on the internet. But I would like these 2 programs here. I would like for you to have Dr. Price to get information on them, because they said, as I listened, all of the things that he said that they were doing, we're already doing. The only thing that was different was that they have a program whereby they can call on their computer, on their iPad, and see that day what the children have done. And if they taught a subject that there were 20 students in the class, 3 of the students didn't understand it, they would know that the next morning, and they could start that next morning. And I've got that, so you can get it. But all in all, there were some good sessions. It was just so far. Then you got to go downstairs. You have to get the escalators to go upstairs, and they are slow, and everybody was running. And those people that couldn't run, they were just hobbling.
Well, if it's any consolation, it sounds like that moving that conference is about like moving around Boston. So at least they're consistent. Boston's not very easy to move around.
But they had some
consistent.
They had some good sessions, and I enjoyed all of them.
I'm going to give you a little tip, Mr. Payne. The rest of the board members, you go to these conferences in terms of handouts. They got these big old tall styrofoams with all of the sessions that are listed in that particular room. That's their room 153A. And they got a check mark there. Got small print handouts. So that's those are the ones that I go to.
Okay, all right.
All right, so pay attention.
I had noticed that.
Now, it may not be that way in the rest of them, but it was that way in Boston, okay?
All right.
Okay, we ready to move forward?
Charles,
Yes.
Charles, because we're getting ready for our one-day retreat, and I know we're not going to be able to cover everything that probably needs to be covered. I don't want to spend time on this tonight, but could you get with the presenter? I would be very interested what the 4 kinds of conflict are. They're not really spelled out here. Okay. And I see ways to handle it, but it really doesn't describe it. Okay. So not tonight, but maybe when we have our retreat, if we could have some definition.
I'll pass this on to Dr. Parrish. I'll get with David and so pose that question.
Okay.
I can make a comment on this, and Tim Johnson's here. Tim's heard me say this before. We did it in Washington, and I believe it in my heart of hearts that as organizations, you change at the speed of trust. You really do. You change. As an organization, and this organization today has changed because of the speed of trust, whether it's the board, the superintendent, the teachers, the administrative team, and the parents.
Yes.
Absolutely. It impacts student achievement, folks.
Yes.
Okay? It impacts that. Okay?
Okay.
Dr. Lanu, we're down to item F.
We are. And so item F, I would ask there'd be two motions. One is to remove from the table the uniform dress policy for Alps Road, followed by a recommendation to accept.
Okay, recommendation from the superintendent to remove uniform dress policy for Alps Road Elementary School from the table, moved by Mr. Payne. We got a second from Ms. Williams. All in favor of removing this item? Okay, motion passed. Superintendent?
You removed it and it's passed?
That's correct.
Okay. Would make a recommendation at this point to approve the... No. You haven't adopted it yet. Yeah. I would like to adopt. I thought I have recommend to adopt the policy for Alps.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Dr. Spangler. All in favor? Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Maybe G will get better.
No, you
recommend that we approve the consent agenda. That we approve the consent agenda.
Recommendation on the consent agenda, moved by Ms. Wright, seconded by Mr. Huff. All in favor? Motion passed. Okay.
And let me just double check with policies, and that is the one on that we went through today with the finance committee.
Where is it?
It's 12.
It is. It's the first one.
That's
There it is. Got it. Thank you. At this point, I recommend we place the policy and regulation exhibits on the table. That'd be number 11.
Okay, this is item 11. Recommendation to place these policies and regulations on the table for 4 weeks. Need a motion. Moved by Dr. Spangler. Got a second? Second by Ms. Ellis. All in favor? Okay, motion passed. Okay, now it's item 12. That's the budget amendment.
Yeah, I was just double checking on this. And I'm looking at Larry in terms of the policy we discussed.
Investment policy? It's right here.
Got it, thank you. Just double check, it's DFL, thank you.
Yeah. It is.
It is, we're good. Recommend that we approve the budget amendment, and that was a handout given by Mr. Gilbert, beginning of the meeting. And this is really for, the budget amendment is for 2 items. It's for $30,500, and that is for work to be done on some classrooms that are vacated as well, so the moves with CTAE. I'm real excited. This will put a 9th grade academy. It creates a wing for the 9th graders at Cedar Shoals. It's something we've been looking to do, and this will allow us to begin that physical process as well as how we staff that. That will change for next year. And the second is $4,300 for some recommendations at Clarke Central, and this is with the weight room and space. We just need more space. And this is not a SPLOST item, of course, so this would come out of the budget, so I recommend we approve that amendment.
Okay, recommendation on the budget amendment, Cedar Shoals High School 9th grade academy addition and the athletic area modification there. And he's giving you the price, $30,500 from Cedar, $4,300 from Clarke Central. I need a motion on that. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Mr. Huff. Any questions about this budget amendment?
I was just, what was in the space at Cedar Shoals prior to that?
The Cedar Shoals were several of the large CTAE rooms. There were family consumer science and I think it was culinary. Foods lab.
And that's this map? Sorry.
That's correct. That is correct.
Any further questions? Okay, all in favor? Motion passed, thank you. Item 13.
That we approve the submission of a grant application to AT&T Foundation's Aspiring Local School Grant Program. Again, that is for graduation coaches and their work.
Okay, AT&T grant, okay. Need a motion on that? We discussed this last week. A motion moved by Mr. Huff, seconded by Ms. Ellis. Any questions pertaining to the AT&T grant application? All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Item 14.
Item 14 is approve the resolution that appoints Ted Gilbert, Associate Superintendent for District Services, and Isa Jimenez of Public Relations as the alternate, as Open Records Officer and alternate respectively.
Mr. Superintendent, I mailed a copy of that proposed resolution to all board members. I presume you received
Yes.
it. If you did not, I have copies here for you this evening.
We got it in the mail.
Yes.
Is this an annual thing that we will be doing?
No, it'll be, well, until the superintendent decides he wants to do another person to take the job, but
Okay.
you just do it and it lasts until he decides he needs somebody else or that person doesn't want to do it anymore.
So it's not like Title IX coordinator or those that we do
It's not
annually?
like the ones we do in August.
Okay, I just wondered, I thought if it were going to last for indefinite period of time, since it started off with a person's name and position, we might just want to reference a position. Do you have to have a name?
I drew the resolution that you've read. The superintendent selected the Open Records Officer and the alternate.
And I think we could do that, but we've also changed some titles with administration.
The
board's pleasure.
As you know, the legislature amended the Open Records Act and the Open Meetings Act. One of the provisions in the Open Records Act is that we name a person who will receive all the requests for records and an alternate in case the officer is not available. The superintendent made the appointment, and that'll last until the superintendent, if you approve it, decides to name someone else.
Okay. I just didn't know if he were doing position or person.
It's a person. It doesn't have to be a position. It's a person.
Okay. But can it be a position? I guess that's the question.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good rule to have, because there are people in the schools and there are people in the community do not know the person that the open records request should be directed to.
You want to make that recommendation again, so people can, that's on item
I can.
14.
Approve the resolution that appoints Ted Gilbert, Associate Superintendent for District Services, and Anissa Jimenez, Director of Public Relations and Communications, as Open Records Officer and alternate, respectively.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation from the superintendent, moved by Ms. Wright, seconded by Mr. Payne. Any further questions on this? All in favor? Motion passed. Item 15.
Item 15, request approval of the request of Ovita Thornton to attend the Georgia 2012 Real Entrepreneurship Institute. That's June 10th through the 15th at Hilton Head Island in South Carolina.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Payne. Got a second on that? Seconded by who? Seconded by Ms. Wright. Any questions?
I just wanted to say that she could use my money.
Of course, I'm going to ride your van out there.
That's right.
Okay.
No, you're not. It doesn't leave the county.
Okay.
All
Why
right.
is the
Any
Georgia
further
organization holding their retreat in South Carolina so the tax dollars are in South Carolina?
You better believe it. Okay, all in favor? You're on your way to Hilton Head, Ovita.
Thank you.
Okay, item 16, I think we're going to talk about the District 3 Board of Education vacancy. And we've already amended that. Mr. Attorney?
Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board, we talked briefly last week about filling the vacancy brought about by the resignation of Reverend Nunley as a member of this Board of Education representing District 3. The president of the board has been in touch with me this week, and today I completed a notice which might be published in the newspaper and posted on the website concerning the vacancy. You will recall that the law requires that the vacancy be filled at a special election which will be held in November during the general election on Tuesday after the first Monday in November. In the meantime, the Board of Education must appoint a person to serve on the Board of Education as a member of it from the time of the appointment until the election is held. In that connection, and I've drawn the notice at the direction of the President, and I have a copy of the notice, a copy of the requirements which we talked about last week for qualifications for members of the Board of Education. I'm handing you a copy of the proposed notice and a copy of the qualifications. You may want to look at those and if there are changes to be made, we can make them. I'm suggesting that the notice be published in the Athens Banner-Herald, which is the official organ of Clarke County, for 2 times, which would be next Friday the 18th and Friday the 25th. That any person who is, and this is contained in the notice, that any person who resides in District 3 and who meets the qualifications should submit a letter and a biographical sketch of themselves by the 31st day of May here at the school district, and then you folks will determine when you will meet, review those, the letter and the biographical sketch and the qualifications, and determine the person that you wish to appoint to that position. Then the governor or the Secretary of State would be notified of the appointment. It would take some time for the paperwork to come back so that the oath of office can be administered to that person. I finished the notice today. I submitted it to Mr. Worthy. He didn't ask for any changes. If you have changes, we'll need to know about it. I have asked Mr. Gilbert if you approve this, and I think there's some urgency in getting the appointment made so that the person can come on board and be a voting member of this Board of Education at some early time. And you probably want to consider the biographical sketches and the letters that are submitted to you either at the agenda meeting or the regular meeting in the month of June, so that the person might take their seat on this Board of Education no later than the July agenda meeting.
Or the June 29th. August.
Once we August and July. That's okay.
Or the June 29th retreat.
Well, sometimes we have call meetings.
That's right. Right. Right about that. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Ryan.
Would we be able to, and I apologize if I missed this, post the board member qualifications on the website so
Well,
that that's on, is that appropriate?
Yes, I'm suggesting that the qualifications be posted on the website.
Okay.
Right.
I can do that.
And can we note that in the notice? Or is that too?
Well, Mr. Worthy asked me if we could put the qualifications in.
No, I meant if we said in the notice that where the qualifications are on the website, is that appropriate to help?
Well, it'd be fine if you want to do that. If anybody will go on to the website after tonight, they can find because I'm submitting a copy of that to Mr. Gilbert. They'll be posted, but I didn't put it in the notice.
Okay. Could maybe just, if I could, President Worthy,
Go ahead.
and I'll work with Anissa to get that posting out. And there really is assumption that if I'm interested in this position, I hope I go to our website, and we'll make it very visible that that posting is there in some way. And Anissa, we can work through that to make sure it's very visible for our first time.
Okay, a couple of things that I need to say with the board member qualifications, and I mentioned this to Mr. Benton as we communicated about this. If you've read through this, you see that it's mentioning here that code of ethics for board members and also the conflict of interest policy. I asked him that would it be okay to do an attachment with this as you place this on the website, have those two items, the code of ethics for board members and also the conflict of interest policy. I think that's very important to be posted along with this.
Yeah, Ms. Jimenez, we'll put that together for sure.
Now, the next thing, as I said, the notice that our legal counsel talked to us about this evening, I hope you've had a chance to read over this, and he mentioned that may be some urgency, and I think it will be, and I think that we need to get this done by the June 14 meeting. The reason I'm saying this, I contacted the Board of Elections today, talked with Gail Strader, the director down there, and I was asking her what would be the qualifying date for a person that we may select and may decide to run in November. Well, they haven't decided that just yet. But in the past, same as we did, we qualified the last of June, no later than the 1st of July. So therefore, I think that in all fairness, the person that we select to fill that seat over there, that we need to move on this by, I have the person in place by June 14th. Having said all of that, we need to approve this tonight if you don't have any problems with it.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Is it this may be not a smart question, and I apologize, but is this District 3 new lines or District 3 original?
New lines. You will recall that I said last week that we had received approval from the Justice Department.
I just didn't know when they went into effect.
They go into effect immediately.
Okay.
The Justice Department has approved it.
Okay.
When people who want to run for District 2, 4, 6, and 8 this year qualify on the 23rd day of May. That's the first day of qualifying.
That's right.
And I think you only got about 2 days to qualify. 23, 24, and 25.
That's correct.
Noon to noon.
48 hours.
You will qualify under the new lines. There's not any question about the school district line.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
And if someone is interested, you make the assumption they would call the Board of Elections to find out the lines, because some of those are hard to see on a computer. Are we going to be able to have a bigger area so that they can, or somehow direct them to know what the lines are in the new district?
I assume that the Board of Elections would have maps large enough for anybody to inspect and tell where the lines are and where the new districts are, because we have, the Board of Elections has the disc which the legislature approved and which the Justice Department has approved.
Yeah, I just think we need to be as transparent and user-friendly as we can. If we're asking them to submit their applications to this office, then I hope when they call down here that someone will be able to tell them where they can get all the information that they need.
Board of Elections. Yeah.
Well,
I know, but just to make sure somebody knows that.
right.
Here.
And the attorney is exactly correct, because I know in the past when I can recall the first time that I decided to run for this Board of Education, I obtained a map and also a disc from the Board of Elections.
Right, but I just don't see any Board of Elections in this document. I don't think so. If somebody reads this and wants to know what to do, I think their first place to call would be here.
Hold on then. Go ahead, Mr. Stone.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that, but that is important with the changing of the lines, because the worst thing that could happen if you get a bunch of interested folk and they're not eligible to run because the lines have changed. So it probably probably needs to be clear somewhere, or we need to have a plan to address it.
I would assume that if you go by the notice that I have prepared, that between the 31st day of May and the 14th day of June, someone from this school district will need to confirm with the Board of Elections that the persons you're considering for appointment do live in District 3, do reside in District 3.
Well, I can live with that. I would hate for them to come to us and then, yeah.
No, okay, but this notice here, and I've given some thought to this, but this notice here is going to be mailed to this address, Mitchell Bridge Road, and you see my name down there. And I've given some thought to it. And once we get, let's say, for instance, we got, I don't know, several resumes in, may get 10, we may get 5 or whatever. And once we go through that, and the attorney have already said to us, we got to do this publicly. Once we do that and identify that name, we may have 1, 2, 3 people that we look at, or whatever number, okay? And then once we decide on that person, before we do anything, I would personally go to the Board of Election and make sure that that person is in District 3.
I think you're going to have to ascertain, this Board of Education is going to have to determine through the Board of Elections and the maps down there that the person you desire to appoint to serve from June until November resides in District 3.
That's correct.
You can give them an address. They look up an address, because when I bought a house, I made sure that the house I was looking at was in my current district, so I didn't have a problem. They can look up an individual address and tell you in 2 seconds whether it's in a district or not.
Go ahead, Don.
I'll be happy to help out at the beginning of the process and go through the addresses with Gil Schrader, or there's the Secretary of State website where you punch in addresses and it tells you different information. But I'll be happy to do that screening process in the beginning, and then we can make sure that that's clear. And then if that helps just getting it started, I'll be happy to help with that.
One thing that I must emphasize again is that the appointment of a person to fill the vacancy of Reverend Nunley from June, if that's when you decide, until November, must be decided right here in this room. Publicly, you cannot discuss this in executive session or over the telephone or anywhere else.
Okay, Mr. Payne?
Well, I would, if you remember whenever we were going over the map, I don't think there was that much change on the, on them.
On 3.
District 3.
3 and 5
3
did some switching around.
And yeah, because I gave you some of mine, so there was some.
I know there was some tweaking, but it wasn't that much.
Well, we don't have to worry about that, folks. It's all in the Board of Elections, okay? Go
All right,
ahead, Dr. Spain.
So do you have a proposed process for what we're going to do? And are we at the June 4th meeting? Is this going to be an agenda item? We will have all read the packets beforehand. You know, when Oconee went through this a year ago, they interviewed people. They had 30-some applications and interviewed 15. It took them a long time to do it. Do you have a proposed process for what we're going to do?
I talked to the attorney about this today and also yesterday. Going back with the sense of urgency here, and I would love to interview folks, but I don't believe that we're going to be able to do that because, see, that's going to take a tremendous amount of time, and it's going to be a Hercules task to get all of 8 of us at the time together at the same time. And I would think that all 8 of us would want to be a part of this. And the urgency, like I said a few minutes ago,
so what are we going to do?
Qualifying date, let's say, for instance, the person that we select to fill that seat, if they decide that they are going to run in the special election in November, and of course the qualifying date would be the last of June, then we ain't going to make it, you know. So like I said, once we get all the information in, we're going to have to look at the biographical sketch, the resumes, etc., and then make a decision from there rather than interviewing.
But are we looking at a special called meeting, or are we looking at doing this at the June agenda meeting?
We probably going to look at it during the June agenda meeting and make a decision June 14th.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we'll get all of it.
So we'll be prepared.
June agenda packet
or something. What now?
So then, when we come in for that particular meeting, we would have all of the applicants that live in that agenda. In that area. And we will, since cannot go into executive session,
that's correct.
Everything happens right here that day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're not doing
interviews. So we'll have a discussion.
We'll have the discussion right here.
As I said, I would love to do interviews, but it's going to prolong the time, and then it may interfere with some things. Okay? Go ahead.
So if I can, just from our end, I'm trying to get people's questions because we're going to get just process-wise. First, I'll ask Mr. Barley, we'll have something out because we're moving different people that are at the front office to say any questions regarding the board member selection or application process will go to Mrs. McNamara. So we'll, if we can, put a notice out because we have different people at the front desk that they would redirect any questions to Ms. McNamara and she'll direct them where to go. With regard to the maps and the information, if there are maps that we can also put on our website that people could at least blow up and look if they want to get some idea, I think we could certainly do that, or at least lead them to another place where they can put in the number and get that information, and we can put that together. But we're also very close in terms of timing, so I think the other is how the applications actually get here and are they stamped and timed.
Yeah.
And if we have a deadline, if we have to get, the deadline
is May 31st.
If the deadline's May 31st.
4:30.
At 4:30, then what happens is, just so we know, is they have to be physically, where do they turn in, the Board of Elections or here?
Here. It says
So they'll
here.
be come here, we'll make sure that we should timestamp each one of those when they come in, and Terry, you've got a timestamp?
I don't have a timestamp, but they do up front.
We'll get one, timestamp that and make sure, I just want to get that process so we know where they're going and that we get them logged in.
And with the phone calls, and my name is included with this notice, it's fine to have them to call me. Because I've had some calls already, and I said to them, we are deciding on this tonight. So we just pay attention to what's taking place.
And Miss Meggers might be of assistance. Remember, it's only the District 3 map that we need to be concerned with as far as, so that.
Linda Meggers has a disc of maps, and so does the election office.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dr. Spangler.
We don't have to do this tonight, but it would be nice if before we get here for the June agenda setting meeting, we knew what the process was going to be. I mean, are we going to have a presidential style election the following week where if there are 6 names, we're all going to vote? Are we going to come out of the agenda setting meeting with one recommendation that we'll just ratify the following week? Given that we have to do all this in public, I think it would be nice if we had a sort of a smooth process and we knew what the process would be.
Okay, well, I tell you what, rather than get into that tonight, I'll talk with the attorney and then he'll email you something in terms of what that process is going to be.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good, Mr. President.
Get David.
What?
Get David Huff in there with you, so he can stand in on some of that.
Mr. President, there are 2 things I would suggest. One is a motion to adopt the notice that's going to be put in the paper to approve the notice.
Right.
And another one is to pass a motion to post the qualifications for a member of the Board of Education on the website of the Clarke County School District.
Okay, let's do the first one. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
2 separate motions.
Okay. I need a motion to approve putting this notice in the newspaper. I need a motion on that. Moved by Mr. Huff, seconded by Ms. Thornton. All in favor? We've had all the discussion. Okay, thank you very much. Now, I need a motion to post the qualification, board members' qualification on the website. Moved by Ms. Thornton, seconded by Mr. Huff. All in favor? Okay, motion passed. There we are. Okay. All righty, Mr.
Okay, at this point, members of the board recommend executive session for personnel matters to include appointments, transfers, and resignations for legal matters and for the acquisition of real estate.
Okay, motion to go into executive session. Moved by Mr. Huff, seconded by Mr. Thornton. All in favor?